G'day guys, welcome to Scotch Down Under. He's Kibble.
He's Scott.
And he's Ken.
And today, we're going to have some peat, but we're not having it from Isla. We're going to Speyside. We're going to try the BenRiach Curiositas. This expression is a 10-year-old and it is at 46 ABV.
Excellent.
And it's got two magic little sentences down the bottom here that we love to see.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Non-chill filtered.
And
Non-coloured.
Yes.
they have a bunch of expressions all the way up to like a 35-year-old. They've got some NASs, they've got some peated, they've got some non-peated, they've got a whole bunch of stuff. And this release came out in 2004. They brought out the Curiositas.
Right.
So it's been around for a little while. I hadn't actually heard of it until recently.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I've never tried it. It's only recently that it's come to my attention.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it either, but you have.
I tried a sample, and I had a few other samples with it, and I wasn't that impressed, but I'm like, I've been really excited to try it out of the bottle, and we have already poured it to let it open up a little bit. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what this is actually like. As it says on here, 1898 is when this came about. Built by
So basically it was in the midst of the boom.
a big boom.
Big kaboom.
Yeah, it did go kaboom.
Yeah, because was it during the 90s? It was a massive...
1890s.
1890s,
Yep.
yes. There was a massive increase in production and number of distilleries in Scotland in general.
Yeah,
But
there
a
was
large concentration in Speyside, is that correct?
Yeah, well, there was about 33 in the late 1890s that popped up, and 21 in Speyside itself.
Excellent.
In 1898, when John Duff established this distillery, he actually put it on the site of the Longmorn Distillery, because he owned the Longmorn Distillery as well. And a couple of years later, they actually had a railway network between the two distilleries. So their own private little railway with a train called the Puggy. So it was a scene, which was pretty cool. So they're transporting their coal and their barley and their barrels and everything between the two distilleries. So everything was good with the big boom, and then a little bit later in 1900, bang, all gone. So do you guys know about the Patterson crash?
A little bit.
A
but
little
not
bit.
really.
The Patterson crash pretty much destroyed... We'll probably touch this on a whole dedicated episode about this history, because the ups and downs in this period is pretty impressive and pretty amazing. So the Patterson crash, they were a bunch of criminals essentially. They were raiding everything they could do to make the massive amount of profits, and they were just doing dodgy practices, fraud, you name it.
Shortcuts, dodgy products,
It was
the
just
whole lot.
really bad, and it went woof and wiped out pretty much all of the Scotch industry.
So that was in 1900.
That was in 1900. Around 1900, at the beginning of it, there was 159 operating distilleries, and then by 1933, there was 15.
Now,
That's it.
Is that Scotland as a whole?
I think it was pretty much all of Scotland.
That's massive.
It decimated. That's why pretty much every
ridiculous.
distillery we talk about, around that time, they were shut down, mothballed, bang, bang, bang. And
or severely
cut back.
reduced
Yep.
production.
Yep. 1900, they completely closed down for 65 years.
They didn't completely shut down though, did they?
No. There was one cool thing that happened.
Because they were still malting. They weren't distilling, but they were still malting on site.
Yep. They were still malting for Longmorn.
Yeah.
Because it was at the same site. John Duff still owned it. And so he was using BenRiach malting floors for malting it at Longmorn. So it's the only thing to stop these buildings from being completely wiped out. In 1965, another big boom happened because the US...
As we've touched on in that Dimple episode, was late 50s, early 60s that Dimple was really just bursting into the US.
Big time.
And that, would have generated more demand for scotches because they're like, hey, if this is good, there's got to be other good stuff that
That's
comes
exactly
from
right.
So obviously, mid-60s, things boomed again. And actually, I suppose, well, that's around the same time, because it was 1963 that Glenfiddich seriously started promoting themselves internationally as
that's right.
single malt whiskey.
As a single malt, which it hadn't been happened before.
So that would have played a part in it. And so obviously, then in 65, because of that demand...
The sister company not sister company, but Glenfiddich, Glenlivet are pretty well known.
Yeah.
They bought BenRiach and started it up again and totally rebuilt the whole internals for the whole distillery.
So replaced all the stills.
Yep, the whole lot.
Wow.
So they ran it for a little while, and in 1972...
They started making peated whiskey.
Pete! Our buddy Pete.
They did that for a few years, and at this time they weren't actually producing a single malt. There was no single malt. This was all for blends.
Mm.
So the reason they started doing the peat was there was actually a demand for peat in blends. Then in 1978, it got bought out by Seagram's. And then in 85, they expanded because they originally only had 2 stills when Glenlivet re-established it. And then they doubled it and went up to 4. So they expanded. And then 94 was the big year when BenRiach became a single malt distillery, which was pretty cool. And they bought out a heritage collection along with Strathisle, Glenkeith and Longmorn, and they bought out a 10-year-old. That was part of their heritage collection. Similar to what Diageo did with the...
Flora Fauna.
No, before that, the Malt collection.
Yeah.
The Master
Right,
Malt
yep,
collection.
I'm with you.
Yep. And then they bought out the Fauna. So similar to that. And then a few years later, they got bought out by Pernod Ricard. And they went, yeah, this is not much that good. The boom's kind of died down a little bit. So they decided to grab half of their distilleries that they owned and went, nah, you guys can shut down and only run for a few months a year.
At least they were still running, though.
Yep, that's right. So there was quite a few other distilleries that were only running a few months a year. So poor old BenRiach went back into pretty much mothballs again in 2002.
But the good news, of course,
Yeah, so this is when it starts getting really interesting.
is in 2004,
Yep,
a consortium led by the legend himself, Billy Walker,
yep, with a couple of supporters from
with
South
a couple
Africa with
others.
a bit of money.
Yep. They bought BenRiach,
And formed,
the BenRiach Distillery Company.
put out a bunch of releases. They pumped up production, and they were really starting to take the world by storm. And at the same time, like in 2008, the BenRiach Distillery Company Limited bought Glendronach, which is one of my favourites. Yep, Glengassa as well in 2013. And in 2012, they re-established the malting floors.
Yes.
And to this day, they're still doing partial maltings, which is really rare in Scotland to actually use traditional malting floor.
I think they're the only one, aren't they?
So they
No, Highland Park do a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
they
that's right.
still
And
do
there's a couple
some like hand turn maltings and stuff.
I think they're still doing it the old-fashioned way, because a malting floor is done that old-fashioned way. Push the little thing around, shovel it with a shovel.
I think I've said this before, but I love distilleries that really embrace their heritage and traditions.
Yep.
And have that focus on it.
And
So
still
that's-
experimenting with different technology and casks.
and still evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're still doing certain things in a traditional manner.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
And so, they brought out a whole bunch more stuff, peated stuff, and all their other releases. And then in 2016, Brown-Forman, they purchased BenRiach Distillery Company as a subsidiary, which included Glendronach and Glenglasser as well.
Oh, the irony as such that basically a company that's best known for, well, what is generally termed bourbon, says we need to buy a Scotch distillery as well.
It's Jack Daniels, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brown-Forman's
Yeah.
is Jack Daniels, basically.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, so they now own it, but Billy Walker, obviously, he's gone on to different things now, like
Yeah.
a lot of master distillers. So back in 2017, Rachel Barry took over. Now, she is an absolute legend in the whiskey industry. She's worked with Glenmorangie, Bowmore, Ardbeg, Lefroy. There's some big name hitters there. And she was the first female master blender to receive an honorary doctorate from the University of Edinburgh.
oh, the doctorate of whiskey making, or whatever it is.
Or some...
Is it, or is it actually a doctorate of distillation?
Something like that, yeah.
Don't know.
Wow, that's fantastic. And of course, she's now she's a member of the Whiskey Magazine Hall of Fame, isn't she?
Yep, later in that year, she was adopted into the Hall of Fame. And she's also a keeper of the Quake, which you need to Google. It's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, to be honest, I actually know nothing about that.
Well,
I mean, I've heard it before, but I'm not 100% certain on what it means.
in the whiskey industry, that's a pretty big deal.
Right.
Yep.
So she's really important.
So the Quake is actually like a drinking bowl. It's got steeped in history.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have like some rituals.
Now I click.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool thing.
What a stunning presentation, isn't it?
I think we keep saying it over and over. This is amazing presentation, but this is amazing
I
presentation.
mean, let's face it, in this day and age, you know, pretty much any brand, any product, they spend a small fortune on design.
A lot goes into it. You've got all the actual production of the tubes and everything, but even before that, you've got to pay designers and think tanks and everything to come up
Yeah.
with your
Logos,
fonts
labels.
and labels and everything.
This is gorgeous because, I mean, like, you know, you've got the white with the gold edging. Just the gold highlights all over it.
The colour scheme is amazing.
Well, black and gold is classic either way. No matter
Yeah.
what you do, it always looks good.
That's
Yeah.
one sexy tube.
And they've got like a nice... Oh, it's all... Yeah.
Slightly embossed.
Slightly embossed and a lovely, like, stencil drawing kind of thing, you would say. But yeah, it's a very nice tube. Even on the top, it's got, 1898 and it's
Stamped in.
stamped in. And we've already popped this to let it breathe a little bit, but on the foil cap, a lovely...
BRD,
BRD.
BenRiach Distillery.
Because that looks stamped as well.
It does. It's actually, it looks
It is.
gold. It looks awesome. And then, the bottle itself is just lovely.
That is properly.
And you know what? The
stamped.
first thing I thought of obviously I'd already had a bit of a look at it in the glass, but as you've pulled that bottle out and pulled it down, it's like, it's this beautiful pale golden hue to match the gold
Oh,
highlights.
it does,
almost.
doesn't it? Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yep. Very nice. Standard bottle shape, but awesome. Just that colour again.
The gold highlights
Yep. The white text on there. Yeah, it's a very, very nice presentation.
and that subtle image
Yeah.
of the distillery buildings.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Oh,
Stunning.
here we go. And on the back here, it's got BenRiach floor maltings. Oh, and the front there as well. Actually, I
It's on
didn't
the
say
tube.
that. Oh, I didn't say that. I should look at my stuff more. I go, oh, that's really nice. I stick it on the shelf and then we review it. And I should sit there and study it more because there's all this text and stuff I never even read.
That was a running joke.
But
for
yeah,
the
it's-
first 3 episodes.
It was, and I'm still doing it. Yeah, very nice. I like it.
Really well presented.
Yep.
Can we get to the good part? I mean, I'm not saying the history wasn't good and everything like that, but can we get to the really good part now?
Yeah, you put whiskey in front of us, and now we've been waiting for 20 minutes. Come on.
Sniffy, sniffy.
Thank you very much.
Peat.
And it's that
That's a
it's
nice peat.
smoky peat.
Yes.
Smoky peat.
Oh, I got bacon for the first time. I've never gotten bacon on a whiskey before. I literally just got bacon.
Even from like an Octomore, no bacon?
I never got bacon or anything.
Oh, I get bacon quite often.
I
But
just
yeah,
got
there is
solid
definitely bacon.
Yeah.
Smoked meat for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never. Oh. It's kind of like that. Like, it's not like super bacony. It's kind of like that artificial bacon.
What, bacon bits?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Yommy's bacon bits.
The biscuits. The bacon
Cheese and the shapes.
shapes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bacon, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is
And I've
that
had that
kind
on-
of bacony.
And
I've
this
had
is
that on a previous whiskey. Yeah.
this is that well and truly that magic number for me, because the 46% for me, for whatever reason, is just that magic number. I can dive
Yeah,
my nose
same. I can
straight
do
in
that.
there.
Oh, we should have touched the colour too, yeah, because this is
I did
non-
say that earlier.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
It
yeah.
matches the
I
whole-
mean, in the glass, yeah, it's really straw.
Too many
Lovely.
fingerprints.
Yeah, it's a lovely light colour.
that very, very light greeny tinge to it.
Yep.
But I guess that's what sort of distinguishes straw from gold for me.
And I'm not really seeing any strong legs coming down. Maybe they are, but they're coming down.
Oh, they are super slow.
I was going to say that
Yeah.
they're not there because they're just taking
Look.
forever. Oh, here they come.
Yeah.
Thin
Oh,
and
they are
slow.
so slow.
Awesome.
So that could be good.
Oh, that peat is glorious.
It is very nice. It reminds me of
Not super punchy, but
well
and
It's
truly
like-
there.
Yeah.
For me, it's like compost, like lawn clippings that have started composting. There's that like mulchy kind of.
They're starting to smoulder in the centre. and-
Yeah.
There's like an earthiness and like grassiness to it,
Yeah, I can get that.
but like decomposition as well.
It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely a different peat than, down south in the lowlands or Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, boys, let's get into it.
Cheers.
Aye, aye, Captain. Okay, that first sip for me at the front on the roof of my mouth. Oily.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that oil hangs on. That's good.
a little bit of heat at the back of the throat on the swallow.
Yeah. It's
No.
a little bit warm. It's not burning. I got a little warmth.
Yeah, just warmth.
Okay. Yeah. But on the arrival, peat.
I didn't get peat too heavily.
No, just on the arrival. So as soon as I swallowed it, it was a little peat, and then it just faded away, and then all that oily bacon. Now I've got bacon.
Yeah, definitely that bacon.
It's a hint of...
I thought you were gonna say basil then.
No, I was thinking bitter, but it's not really bitter, but there's something sort of tartish.
I'm just letting the coated mouth sit for a bit and oxidize.
It's a long finish.
It's still going. But
I
it's
got-
still that consistent taste. It hasn't opened up to anything else apart from like I'm still getting that bacon.
Oh, grassy,
That was-
herbal. I'm not really getting much in the way of sweetness.
Yeah, no, there's no sweetness. Because like
But that's
when I let
really interesting.
when I let it sit in my mouth for a bit, I kind of got a little bit of like fresh cut grass as well. But it's still very similar to there's that peat there that kind of just hangs around with it, so that you still get that composty kind of.
Yeah, like on the nose now, I can definitely get that slightly composting grass that's been sitting there. It reminds me when I was a young kid, we'd all the grass, we'd stick it in a pile, and when it starts to go slightly browny grey, and that definitely smells.
So
like
it's
that.
sort of like, we're sort of 4 or 5 days after the cutting.
Yep, and it's starting to smoulder a little bit. Yep.
If you turn it with a pitchfork, a little
Yeah,
bit
the
of steam
dust.
comes
Yeah,
out,
that's the one.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Let's add some water. I want to open this up. It's definitely got that Speyside, but it's really hidden. Let that sit for a little bit. I'm thinking it's it needs to open up a little bit. I definitely think it needs to. Like, we have let it sit for quite a bit, but it's still a neck ball. I think it really needs to get down below that shoulder and, you know, open up a little bit, I think. I think it's a little bit constricted at the moment. But we'll see what happens with the water.
We're dropping that ABV down slightly way adding the water.
Oh, it's gone back to the 43.
Oh, I've got to figure out a way of getting around that.
Drink more.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I suppose if I drink more, I'm not going to notice it as much.
Yeah, but you'll get so used to it, you just, you won't notice it. Might add some more.
Yeah, now I'm getting a little floral sweetness, maybe.
Is that clouded
Does that
up
make
at all?
sense? Like a little, almost, some perfumes smell a bit sweet.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, but yeah, florally, as I said. You're getting your fingerprints off your glass there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if it's getting cloudy.
There's a little bit of Scotch mist there, but not too
Yeah.
much. Might need to drop it down a little bit more, but yeah.
That did not help. It just smudged.
You just smudged fingerprints.
Can't be used for a crime anymore.
Oh look, that sort of
I'm getting the more of that
mouldy, decomposing grass, mossy peat is still predominant, but there's a really subtle floral.
I'm getting
perfumey
lemongrass. I'm getting lemongrass.
It's not. I get what you're saying, but it's not how I'm interpreting it.
Yep, that's how I'm getting it. It reminds me of lemongrass.
Because I mean, the thing is, even though it's got that bitter tart taste, lemons do have a degree of sweetness in their aroma.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah, that's citrus. Yeah.
There's a little bit of citrus starting to come through, but not quite zesty. It's like smelling the flesh rather than tasting it. Does that make sense?
That's really thin and rounded and smooth on the entry as soon as you swallow. And then you think, oh, where's the whiskey gone? And then all of a sudden, it comes back in.
I can't nail anything.
I'm getting that.
It's a bit like that. I think it needs to be opened up
There's
a
that
little bit.
very, very subtle charred oak for me now.
Yep.
Well, there's something that's changed.
But
from adding
more-
water for me, but I can't
More the smoke rather than the
can't-
actual charred wood.
put it down to what it is. It's not like I can't seem to identify with.
The grass, compost.
Well, it's like,
Maybe there was some-
for me. It's not lemongrass, and it's not like citrus, but I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. There's something there. I just can't seem to narrow it down.
Yep. Yeah.
Have you guys gone in for a taste check?
Yeah, I just went for
I
a little
haven't.
taste.
I've still been nosing it.
Oh, I've just added a little more water.
Yeah, I added 8 drops because I did 4, and I was like, I've still got a lot of whiskey, so I did 4. So I'm gonna add another 8 and see what happens.
Like you said, it's almost like a hint of mist.
Yeah, there's
It's
a
not
little...
really clouding.
No, it's just a little Scotch mist.
Well, not all whiskies will go super cloudy.
Yeah, but it's so cool when they do.
I still can't. I still got bacon.
Now I'm getting a little honey.
Yep.
Or maybe
I wouldn't say honey, it's more
Maple.
nectar.
Maple bacon.
Yep.
Maple bacon.
Perhaps that's slightly suggestive with the whole bacon thing, but I mean, honey sweetness is lighter. Maple syrup's quite rich.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking like a nectar, because the nectar can be really
Well,
thick.
maple syrup is also quite woody and quite oaky.
Yeah, maple
Yeah, I
rather
can
than
see
honey.
that.
So what are you thinking, guys?
I like it.
I think I want some bacon.
Bacon in the glass.
Yeah, that's opening up really well. It's starting to get more that peat's become a little subdued, so I'm getting more of the underlying notes.
I literally can't work out what this is. There's something there that's intriguing me. I feel like I have to drink the whole bottle to find out.
Almost got a hint of like a
Where's the tube?
an apple then.
That is a very
I'm just
good
wondering if
question.
the notes on the tube are maybe a little easier.
Oh,
to
have a look at the
read.
notes. Okay.
It got put back in its spot.
Well, that's you got glasses on. That's a really fine text.
This is a bigger fault than what's on there. So
I can read that.
overtones of peat reek
Yep.
with a background of fruity, floral, leathery. So that leathery smoked meat, bacon, yeah, and an appealing presence of oak wood in the finish.
Hey
Yeah.
guys, what's a beetberry?
I have no idea.
Floral beetberry notes.
No, that's you misreading that. That's the leathery.
Okay, that does have
I can see why you think that. It's just the particular style of
Because you
H
saw that
they
as
use.
beetberry, right?
Well, I can hardly even see that, so yeah.
Actually, yeah, no. See, I said leathery. Heathery.
Heathery. That's a H.
That's what it is.
Heathery.
Yeah, beetberry is heathery.
So yeah, heather is again. It's that sort of herbal.
Yeah.
Yep,
yeah.
and that's what you're going to get with this kind of peat from a Speyside. It's going to be that heathery, florally. I'm thinking it's the high layer.
Traditionalists believe that peated malts achieve optimum balance of peat, bittersweet, and oak infusion after 10 years of maturation. Peat bittersweet. Sounds like some, fancy, classy dude. What's your name? Peat bittersweet.
Peter Bittersweet, Esquire.
But
How much is this worth?
Oh shit!
it's about $100.
Yeah.
I think it's 110.
Well, I'm looking online, it ranges between 90 to 110. That's
So,
the
yeah,
average. That's around
depending on where you buy.
And that's right, as usual.
It's one of those ones that ticks a lot of boxes. Straight up, as we said, 46 ABV. Non-coloured, non-chill filtered. It's got some peat. And the thing that I love, the most is the fact that drop, opens up.
Yep.
You can play with it.
Yep, it's got a bit of room to play.
It opens up, it changes. And it's not one of those, I don't think it's one of those ones, I'm tempted to add a bit more water now just to see. But I don't think it's one of those ones that, adding more water is really going to kill anything in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some that you get to a point where, obviously it depends on how much you're adding.
Yeah, you couldn't add a litre to it.
Well, no, you'd barely even taste it.
It's not even a litre in the bottle.
But, with that little bit of water, the peat dissipates, some of the underlying notes really start to come through. I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I bloody like it.
I'm interested to see when it gets down a little bit, how it develops.
Well, I guess, for the sake of knowledge,
Oh yeah. We can.
we should indulge regularly.
We can
I think
help
we
you
should.
with that.
Yeah. I think we should delve into it regularly.
I
Yeah.
mean, yes, it's purely for science.
Science reasons.
Yeah, okay.
You can't not agree with that one.
Continuity.
Yes.
All right, guys, out of 10, what do you reckon?
Well, I got bacon, so I like.
You're
bacon.
happy with that?
Yeah. It's good, but it didn't blow my socks off. So I'm probably thinking like an 8-7.
8-7.
I'm kind of with you, but for me, that fact that it's opening up and it's a good exploratory one gives it a little bit of a nudge for me. So 9.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit higher. I was thinking 9.3.
Hey, if you average that out, it's a 9.
Yeah. I want to explore it when it goes down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we've said, to see if it does open up. But it does
Because
tick all the boxes.
I think we've all had whiskies before that the neck pour, we've kind of just gone, but when you come back to it, you go, oh, okay.
Yep. Well, they always say you should never judge a whiskey fully on the neck pour.
So there you go. On average, a 9 out of 10 for the Curiositas.
Yep.
But our curiosity has not been sated.
No.
So we need to dive into this one again.
Yes.
And see if, as the level drops and a bit of oxidization takes place,
And see how it
hopefully
develops.
it opens up and develops more.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm hoping because it ticks all the boxes. Great presentation, and I want to see what it does.
Yeah.
Yep. So we will return after we're halfway down the bottle, and we'll give you an update on what it's like.
In 10 minutes.
Yeah. Until then, have a good one. G'day guys, welcome to Scotch Down Under. He's Kibble.
He's Scott.
And I'm Ken. I need to
But
take
remember,
a photo
I-
of that and blow it up so that you can see it says Big Berry.